we'll go ahead and get started. I may turn this down just a little bit. Oh, you're doing, thank you, Tim. Tim's up there in the control room doing everything. Thank you guys for coming to a really neat time that we're going to have today. A few months ago, I think Jennifer asked about doing a wellness program, or at least a lunch and learn for everybody on holiday decorating, and so we got this lined up, and we feel, as far as wellness, this is a way to kind of de-stress, relax, and take your mind off of the stressful jobs we might be doing every day. So hopefully everybody is in a good spot that they can see what's going on. They're going to demonstrate throughout here. So today we have two very special people to show us some really good decorating ideas for the holidays. We have Dan Brabec, who is the owner and operator of Co's is it Floral Shop? I want to be sure I'm saying that right, here in Ames. And we also have Jennifer Ballantine. I think most of you probably know her. She's our manager of the gift shop here in the hospital. And so without further ado, I'm going to let them take it over and talk to us about what we can do for the holiday decorating. Thank you. Please welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Well, welcome everyone. We are going to narrow down the holiday decorating for you to 3 different categories. The first one being your front porch or your entry to your home. The second area is going to be table decorations, or like a sideboard or buffet decorations. A couple different ways of doing those. And then the final one will be a mantle, fireplace mantle, or a shelf that kind of transitions into our beautiful fireplace we have burning for you on this 62-degree day.
Right.
Dan suggested maybe we get some waves and
some ocean breezes coming through.
Yeah, he was going to show up in a Speedo, but we decided.
I had to change when I saw the weather.
So, as Christy said, without further ado, we'll go ahead and we'll start with our front entryway, or our front porch. So, Dan is kind enough to show his wonderful talents. He is such a talented man and has wonderful ideas. So we're going to start out with the front porch area. So
just so you know, we don't have like a thing on the side or anything. Jen asked me to come because we do the flowers in the cooler now in the hospitality shop. And so it was kind of a partnership that we've developed. And so that's why I'm here today to kind of help her promote a lot of the products that she has, and then I have some products from my shop as well that I'm going to show you how you can fill in and utilize fresh pines and twigs and elements that we might find in our yard, pine cones and logs and those types of things, that we can accent a lot of the home decor that we might already own, or get some fill-in pieces to kind of create the holiday look that we want. So for setting the stage for a front entryway, instead of just always having the typical wreath on your door, a lot of us are really finding it interesting to go to the different consignment shops that are out now, or the shabby chic look, or the repurposing of finding old things that we might already have in our home or in our garage, and how can we reutilize those things or those family heirlooms to make them fun again. And so I just took an old chair that we had in our props area, and Jen has these awesome long needle pine. And what we do, or what I tell my clients to do, is just kind of prop this up by your front door, and maybe take the piece of pine and kind of tie it to the top, and then we'll just kind of set it down through the chair, and then maybe tie it down at the base of the chair, just to kind of give it a swagged effect. And then use this as a statement piece by your front door. And then lanterns have kind of been the trend for 2012. Using lanterns in your decor, whether or not you have the metal ones or some of the wood ones that are antique that you might want to utilize. But just setting those on your display, and perhaps you're entertaining for a party that night, so maybe you would want to light a candle and have it in there. If you wanted more of an all-around look, you could just take some ornaments that you might have and just kind of stack them inside of the lantern to give it kind of a glitzy look. And it would be a finished look that you could have for the whole holiday season and have it outside without having to do candles or fresh pine cones. Yep, there you go. That's great. And then to finish it up, say you were entertaining or having a party, you could always add just fresh elements to it as well. So I brought like some fresh holly from the store that you could tuck in. and have that for color. So then you could have all of your pieces kind of staged, and then when you do entertain, you could put a candle in or bring some fresh pine or holly just to kind of give it more of a gathered look, which is awesome. What do you think, Jen?
Looking good. You're all going to go home. We're all going to drive by your homes and make sure you've done all
Yeah, make sure that you did all of these things. The last thing that I do to touch it up is we all have old grapevine wreaths at our house, and some of them are decorated, some of them aren't. I usually take them and soak them in a tub of water, and then I cut the binding of the grapevine off and pull the grapevine apart. So now you have some grapevine pieces, and you can take those and twist those through your design just to give you some movement and reutilize your wreaths again instead of having those old dusty grapevine wreaths that we don't know what to do with. This kind of gives them new life and incorporates them into things that you already have, so you don't feel like you just have to pitch that old wreath. You can give it new life. So another fun thing that we've been doing at the store this year is Birch Logs. If you've noticed when you go out to different gift shops or even at Jen's shop, a lot of the influence this year has been on woodland or real natural elements. So using birch logs in your design has been really creative. So I just took one and put it in an outdoor pot and cut a couple of the logs. And then I just added some twigs, which you could cut these off of your shrubs out front, or if your neighbors are asleep late at night, you can go over and hack on theirs. Whatever works for you. And then I'm just going to put some pine in it. Now this is actually plastic, so this would be the natural looking year-round pine that you wouldn't have to get rid of. And I'm just going to incorporate some of those pieces into it. And the best thing about this is that this look, when you put something together like this at your house, this type of a look is an all-winter look, so it's something that you can do from right at Thanksgiving or after all the way through till March. And it is, you don't have to put it away because it doesn't say Santa Claus. It isn't red and green. It's just kind of a natural look. And then what I like to tell my clients to do is, after they've invested in some of these pieces, every year just get some fresh pine or trim some of your shrubs that you have in your yard. And just to add that into it. Hopefully it looks good from that side. I can't see from the back. But just incorporating some of those natural elements. So then people are like, wow, look at how awesome that looks. And it doesn't look like something that you just picked up. If I could get these in here.
If you have a glue gun, that really does help.
It does.
So you can glue gun some of these bigger ornaments in there.
These are from the hospitality shop, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep. And then just put some pine cones in.
And that's what's great with, if you just going out in your woods and collecting pine cones, you can spray paint them any color, whether you want to go the gold or the champagne or the silver, depending on the decor you want to use. You can spray paint them black. For a lot of people who have black in their homes, that's kind of neat to do. So here he's just hanging some of these natural ones.
And then Jen has some of these great snowflakes too, which once you have kind of your natural effect and you're having people over entertaining, then right before they come, you can add some sparkle or whimsy and just add some snowflakes to it, just to give it a little punch.
Hence the glue gun.
Yes, and if you were doing this for your home outside, you could use a glue gun like Jen said, or a lot of times I just use wire to wire everything in, because I was actually the second windiest state in the Union, if you didn't know that. So if you don't want to see it in your neighbor's yard, try to wire it down so you can keep it for yourself. Okay, and then the last thing, if you want to show them your ribbon that you have, which I think is awesome. We didn't get any of that this year.
This we sell at the shop. It has, I think, like, I don't know how many feet of ribbon in this, but some of you may have seen this in Pottery Barn, which they sell for quite a bit more. But we have this wonderful ribbon, and it could be mixed in with this if you want, or it could be mixed in with this, just twirling it around the garland. The other thing, I just took a ladder that we have at the shop, and you can even use a ladder at home from home, and I just twisted some of the garland that we had, the pine cone and greenery garland, took one of our grapevine stars, and you could do the same thing with this. You know, you can start twisting that around the garland, looping it all the way through, but just adding some color. But you can do that with an old repurposed ladder that you might have at home.
Jen and I were talking early before the show too. We're like, when you buy this awesome ribbon, sometimes you feel like you don't want to cut it. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know what you're going to do with it from year to year, maybe you're going to put it in one area or another area, you could just unwind a bunch of it and use it in your display, and then maybe at the bottom of your ladder have an old wash tub and have the bolt and the rest of it just kind of nestled at the bottom, so it looked like you were just kind of staging it. Then the next year you could do something different with it, put it on your mantle or tie it down your railing or those types of things. So then you would have the long length of the ribbon without cutting it, and you could feel like your investment would last you a lot longer. So one last thing for outdoors. Okay. I brought one of these from the shop, and this is what we call a light and airy pine. And we have all different kinds of these that have kind of a ring or a hook at the top. And we use these for decorating light fixtures. So like outside of your home, if you have like a lantern or a hanging light in your entry, or a lot of the large lamp posts or lights that maybe are on either side of your garage door, this light and airy pine is really great because it's all wired, and you can take it and twist it through all of your lights individually. And so there's all these individual pieces that'll go out throughout your light. And it's great because it's all plastic coated, so none of the wire is going to scratch your fixture. And then you can use it from year to year. So these are great things to pick up for decorating too. All right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Great.
Now we'll go to table decorations. And this is, again, repurposing an old silver tray maybe grandmother or great-grandma gave you. That's maybe just tarnishing away. What a great thing to reuse. So I'm just taking an old silver tray, and we have these metal, actually they're candle holders, or they can be a vase. You can flip them over and they're a candle holder, or this way it's a vase. And so here we did some gold and silver magnolia leaves that are plastic or silk. And then 2 picks that have the champagne-colored greens and the pine cones and that kind of stuff. And so we're going to use that, kind of give it some height and a little bit of texture as well to a display. Then mixing some different trees. It's fun to mix different trees, especially with the metallics that are out right now. So many different, and they look great with any kind of decor. So we're just going to incorporate a couple different trees. Kind of creating just a little vignette or a little nesting of things. I could take the Santa, he can go on the tray, or he can kind of go off to the side. And then again, taking different ornaments. I have the gold acorn, some pretty glass. You can even use antique ones if you have some pretty antique
those are beautiful
ornaments. These are beautiful. These are glass, and just kind of pile them in there. And I'm mixing some mercury glass and the silver to kind of tie in the gold and the silver.
The biggest point I think Jen wants to hit home, or that we had talked about earlier before the show, was that you can use crystal bowls out of your china closet, or candlesticks maybe that you were given when you got married and you've never had a place to utilize them. Any kind of trays or different elevators that you want to use to create a table vignette, maybe some leftover glass vases or cylinder vases or something that you might already have. And then use that as your base for all of your decor and stage all of your decorations on top of it. And that's going to give you kind of this gathered look that's really popular. especially whenever we open the magazine cover, Pottery Barn, or all the different places that are showing you that type of look with all the different textures. Utilizing some of those things you already have really give it a neat effect. You want to show them your vase too? I thought that was fun.
And this is something, again, just going out the backyard, pruning your trees, hang on to those branches. I just have a cylinder glass vase using the fake snow, just filled some with the fake snow at the bottom. I have some glittery covered pine cones that are actually dusted with a kind of an iridescent sequin. And then I just took a little wired ribbon in the cream and the metallic gold and tied that around it. And then again, I could take the ornaments if I wanted, some of the golds and the silvers, and I could put those on the branches if I wanted to. So if you wanted to not have maybe something like that, you could change it out and do the branches.
Give it more of a natural look. Yep. And then the last finishing touch that I had was just incorporating, maybe you don't have a fresh tree in your home. You don't have to have a fresh tree to get the fresh pine scent. Just bringing in some fresh boughs that we have at the shop and just laying those in there just to make it look festive and to kind of give it some color. Off to either side. And then what I've been frantically fumbling trying to get open over here are these little battery operated lights. And they're really, really fun to take and twist through all of your different trays or little ornament displays, or whether or not you have little bowls of bulbs and things that you kind of display at home, and just taking those and twisting them through to kind of light them up, or when you walk through a room to give you some light. And the best thing about these that I'm in love with is that this year they finally have made these lights where they're on a timer. So if you were to turn these lights on, say at 5 o'clock in your home, they're going to stay on for 6 hours by themselves and then go off. And then every night they're going to come on at 5. So just to add a little bit of candle, or a little bit of, not candlelight, but a little bit of glow to your home, whether you're putting them in your little displays or putting them in wreaths or those types of things. When you walk through your home at night, you don't have to go through and turn everything on. Everything comes on by itself, and you just have that really beautiful Christmas lights that we love to enjoy at night. So we have these at the shop.
Nice.
Yeah.
The other thing, and this is kind of adding to that metallic theme, we have these beautiful kissing balls, and this is the cream with the gold ribbon. But if you have a chandelier at all, or lights above your hunt board or sideboard on each side, you can hang these from the lights. It's beautiful hanging underneath a chandelier. It's really, those are really pretty.
You could even use it as a kissing ball too in your front entry. If you need extra help at Christmas, I don't know.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to our next display.
Next one, and many of you already know this already, how we're seeing so many things coming out in burlap. And I tell you, you can go to the Walmart or a fabric store, get I don't know how many yards of burlap, but you can do so many different things with it. I just brought a piece of burlap that you can use as a tablecloth if you want, or just a little table topper. We just wanted to show that here. You can even stencil on it if you wanted to write a little believe or a little holiday message, whatever. You can just stencil it on the very edge of it. Is really pretty. Another thing, we're kind of doing a little like a transferware look using a platter. And again, you can use any kind of platter you might have at home. And this is just showing the brown and cream, which is real popular in a lot of homes right now. But using a platter as a base for our display. I also have a pitcher that's in the same kind of transferware. Just taking some greens, a little tip of like a Norfolk pine or a pine tree, and tucking that in there. I also have a cloche, a glass cloche that's really pretty that you can use. And you could put a bird, or in this case, I have a little owl in there.
Owls are the big rage for 2012. And even in all of our catalogs for spring, Jen can attest that you're going to see owls are going to be even bigger next year. So they're not going away. So if you want to give a hoot, haha, you can join us in the owl wagon because it's going to be really strong next year.
And then I'm just taking a little fake snow and putting that in the base.
One thing that I had mentioned to Jen that I tell a lot of my clients is that the big rage right now is all of the decorative scarves that you gals are wearing and using them for all of your different outfits and coordinating them for all your different attire that you wear. And what I always tell my customers is if you're buying a beautiful scarf like this and maybe you're only wearing it with one outfit, you know, that's once or twice a month that you're wearing that scarf. The rest of the time, it could be a beautiful table dressing. So when you're trying to put together your vignettes and as we're accumulating all of these scarves in our closet, and maybe we got one as a gift or we don't use it as often as we'd like to, you can take those and weave them through your decor on your table display and kind of give kind of a gathered look. And then instead of having to buy table runners or finding fabric to put underneath your displays in your home, you could use your scarves that you already have. So that's just another idea.
And add something else. You can just take a wreath stand. You can buy wreath stands, which are great because they're nice. You can use them outdoors, you can use them indoors. This one kind of carrying that rustic theme. Just taking a wreath and tucking that behind your whole display.
One good thing I'll say about, isn't that great? One good thing I'll say about Jen's wreath holders that she has at the hospitality shop is that you can find them at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or different places, but they're not this heavy. Hers are really nice quality and super heavy, so if you wanted to have this out by your entryway or use it in your home and worry about a child coming by and knocking it over, hers are really nice and heavy. So if you're looking for one, stop and get one from her because they're really nice.
And they're also adjustable. So there's a piece in the back that you can raise it or you can lower it, which is really nice. So giving some different proportions to your display.
Sure. And one last thing about the burlap that she was talking about earlier. One of our gals that came into the shop, she takes burlap, and when she has guests that come and she entertains, she takes the burlap and makes like her little favors and things in little burlap sacks. And then she uses a stencil or paint and puts their initial on it, kind of a cursive initial on each one for whoever's treat it is, and then places that at each place setting. And it's so super inexpensive just to use burlap, even instead of buying all of the gift bags.
The final thing that's neat to do, I'm sure some of you may even have your childhood sleighs, or otherwise you're probably seeing some of these in the different gift shops. These are great to hang. You can hang them on your wall. You can put them on a fireplace mantle. I also love for serving. You can use these on like a buffet or a sideboard, and you can serve from them. So if you wanted to do a platter on top or a hot cocoa station, you could do something like that with any of your sleds. So just
So
an
awesome.
idea.
Yeah.
They're really cute.
Especially when we entertain at the holidays, a lot of times we'll have larger groups of people. So maybe it's not a formal sit-down dinner. People are coming and going, or you're just having appetizers. And when you're trying to put all of your different hors d'oeuvres and appetizers out, utilize these pieces that you have to kind of give your buffets and things different heights and different levels. And that's going to give it much more of a professional look instead of just having all of your food just laying on the counter. So, on to the next.
The next one. The next one we have is kind of a black and white scheme that you can add a pop of color to if you'd like. But we talked about repurposing. And one of the things Dan brought that I think is a great idea, an old cupboard door. Took an old cupboard door, painted it off white. And you could do any kind of color depending on your color scheme, but this is just a good basic, nice backdrop to use.
Yep, just lay it on your table and
Lay it
use
on
it
your
as your
table.
server. And then again, that's pulling in your kind of shabby chic effect.
Do you want to do that
Oh,
first,
I
or
think
you
we
want
should do the everyday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just took a black tree and made a little bow to put up on top to give it some pattern. Again, this can be a repurposed thing if you'd like, or can be purchased this way too. The metal pitcher. Just made a plaid bow, a little checkered bow on it, and added some juniper berry picks that we have at the shop that you can tuck in there to give it a little bit of color. Neat little vintage black and white print that you can put on an easel if you'd like, or it can be hung. I'm going to use that as a backdrop as well.
Those have been so incredibly popular this year. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with that kind of washed out vintage effect. And then the next thing we were going to show is if you were to do this type of a display, how you could then transform it from an everyday holiday display and use it for a New Year's display. So maybe we could set like our silver tray just right in the center there. Yep. Again, if you don't have a fancy silver tray, you could just use a really clean sheet of aluminum foil and fold it really nice and use that as a liner underneath just to give you that silver metallic sparkle. And then we just took some old wine bottles that we had, left all the labels and everything on them, just spray painted them silver, and then just added some little glitz out of the top. And you could use that as a fun holiday centerpiece for New Year's, especially since, we're going to be toasting that night and the champagne will be flowing and hopefully everybody will be crashing at your house and not driving home.
Are you talking about mine or your house?
Go to her house.
Yeah.
And then just to add a little bit of glitz and something fun, why not add like a little feather boa or something fun through the center of your display just to make it look more festive and party, or you could get some holiday New Year's Eve favors or little party hats or those kind of things that you could set through your bottles, and your display automatically goes from Christmas right into New Year's. So just a fun other effect.
And if you have a silver pail, you can find these at Ace Hardware, anywhere. Use this, put your champagne bottle in at your front entryway of your house with some ice. You can also put some of your glasses that you'll be serving from. And as guests enter your home, you can pour them a glass of champagne and right there in the entryway of your home. But just making that black and silver look.
Absolutely. Oh, and we had this too, just in case you have fun scarves that are kind of sparkly or glitzy for the holidays and you're not wearing them to the party, you could use that again as another runner, just to give you the idea of being able to utilize some things that you already have and then getting some key pieces to kind of tie in to give you a new look. Okay, great.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions on our
So
table
far?
centerpieces at all? Or any other awesome ideas that you'd like to share? Yes. Oh, yeah, we sell them. We sell them at the shop. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question? I don't think so.
Oh, she was asking, she was interested in the birch poles or the birch branches and didn't know where she could get them. And we sell them at Coe's. You can get an 8-foot pole for $9.99. And all of our holiday merchandise at the store, every single holiday item that we have is already 20% off. So Jen and I both have coupons for you too before you leave. If you need to leave here soon, make sure you grab one. My coupon gives you an additional 10% off any holiday items. So that means you're automatically going to get 30% off all the holiday in the store. And Jen's offering...
Mine doesn't offer that, but...
Oh, she's
But
offering...
you get 7% off already because you don't pay tax.
Right.
And then 20% off any of your full
So
full price
27%,
gifts.
but you don't even have to get in your car. You could be right here. You don't even have to get in your car. And she'll take it right out of your paycheck.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know.
What more could
it's
you
like
want?
You never saw it. You
Right.
didn't see anything.
If you guys don't get one before you leave, you can also email me and I'll make sure we can get one to you.
Sure. Actually, we'll give them to you if you'd like to take them to the back in case some of you have to leave. You can grab one, if that makes sense. There you are.
One thing I
Sure.
was going to mention to some of you too, they finished for this time of the year, but starting in the spring, Dan at Coe's, they offer different classes that you can take. Like they had miniature terrarium classes. In the fall, they did
Christmas decorating. We did fall centerpieces,
things like that.
English garden bouquets. We usually typically have one once a month. And those classes we'll post on our website online. And we usually post all of 2013's classes in January. So as soon as we get back from market and see what's new, then we'll have all the classes posted for you.
Our final thing that we're going to show you is a fireplace mantle. And for those of you who don't have a fireplace mantle, it could be a shelf unit, whether you have a shelving unit in a, it could be in a living room, a family room, wherever, but that you could use in place of the fireplace mantle, but just a neat display that you could create. So Dan's going to show you a wonderful tip for hanging your garland without destroying the woodwork.
Right.
So.
Every customer that comes into the shop says, oh, I'd like to decorate my mantle, but I don't want to put a nail in it, or I don't want to put a push pin in it, and I don't want to ruin my wood, and I don't want to stick anything to it. And for the 11 years that I've been going out to clients' homes, every single year I use the command strips. And every single year I come back and there's absolutely no damage. So I would 100% stand behind them and would encourage you guys to try them. What I do is I put the command strip with the hook closest to the front of your fireplace mantle. So you want to have your hook facing away from where your weight or gravity will be pulling against it. And so I put that down. And then what I do is I use a pipe cleaner in all of my holiday decorating, so that way I don't scratch the finish on your woodwork or scratch the finish on your railings. And I twist that around the command strip. So now I have kind of a large hook already pre-made that's not going to scratch anything. And then we have a garland, which these are so fun because they look so woodsy. And if you're going to put it along the front of your fireplace, I always try to kind of figure out where my corners are going to be and put that into my pine before I start. Then if you'll hold that side for me. I'm getting caught in my microphone. I'm just going to take that and wire that right into my pine and let that hang off the front. Awesome. And when you use that pipe cleaner like that, your weight is going to pull against the command strip, so it's going to hold. And then you have your front garland that you can hang off of any of your shelving or any of your fireplaces. And then to hide your command strips, I just use some little picks of pine. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to incorporate those right in, off to the side. If you can convince your husband to help, it would be great to have 4 hands for this. And then Jen has, again, some burlap ribbon, which is awesome.
We just sell it in a roll, actually. And so you can use that as your garland. They're also pretty to display on a shelf, kind of how we did with some of the scarves, but you can work it through. It looks great on a dining room table, too, in the center of a dining room table with different lanterns, and you can scatter it through.
So this is awesome to give a natural effect, especially if we wanted to do kind of a winter look, but we didn't want to have it be all reds and greens. This would be something fun that you could have up through February during the winter months and not feel like your house, don't you feel like your house is so bare or naked once you put all the Christmas stuff away? So just kind of working that through.
Can you guys see over there? It's a little tough to see.
Should we lift it?
I can angle it. Yeah. Give you an idea how that looks.
That's an idea of kind of the effect that you can get. And then utilizing any lights or berries or any type of other picks that you want to put in. Jen has some awesome display things that you could set on your mantle kind of to help finish the look.
Mm-hmm. Kind of give that tie in that burlap, but a rustic look. Got a couple different trees at different heights. That's kind of fun to do.
And those are so great, again, for a November through March look. It doesn't say anything about Santa Claus or Christmas.
And then a couple different ones that I made myself just out of burlap. I took a styrofoam tree and glue gun, and I actually took a strip of burlap to first wrap it around, and then I cut strips of burlap, just little fringe, and then I glued them to make little branches around there.
That's so fun.
Kind of adding kind of a natural element. And then the other tree that I made, I just bought an urn from Hobby Lobby, just a small little urn, and another styrofoam tree using a glue gun as well. We sell this wool yarn at the shop, and I just started wrapping it around and glue gunning it down to create another tree.
And what's really fun about that wool ribbon is that with the real natural look and using some of your shabby chic elements, that is really great to even tie around packages or tie on your, there you go, your little treat sacks that you do.
Brown paper sack. And you can run it through, use a paper punch and loop it through, create a little bow with that yarn, and you've got yourself a nice little treat for your neighbors or for a friend.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, the pheasant feathers.
Pheasant feathers. These are
really
neat
big
to tuck in with your garland if you want. These we sell as a bunch, but they can all be separated, but you could tuck those in. These are really pretty too to put in your Christmas tree. If you have a family room that's kind of rustic, they're really neat to tuck in. So I'm just going to lay those there, but they can all be taken apart.
Now, some of you may have hunters in your family that already have the pheasant feathers that you can use. And the only thing that I would warn you about is that all of the little insects and little critters that live in the feathers, you would want to make sure that you killed those before you would bring them into your home, especially if you have young children. So the best way to do it is to spread them out like on a cookie sheet and bake them in the oven. And that kills all the little insects or any of the organisms that are living in it. It also kills the marrow inside of the quill of the feather, so that way nothing can grow inside of it. So usually you bake them for about an hour, and that kills everything. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but if you Google it, it's online. Sure.
And then another vase, just using a cylinder vase, again with the branches, some fake snow. I just cut a strip of burlap and then just slightly trimmed the edges to make it look a little rough, just a little more casual, I guess. And then I took an ornament that I purchased at Kohl's and just attached that to the top.
Awesome.
And you can add that into your display. And again, you could do a grapevine star if you wanted, whether it's hanging, behind it on the wall, or it could hang on the garland in the middle if you wanted to, just making that rustic feel again.
Those are super fun to wrap with the little battery-operated lights, too. Take a set and wrap those around the star, and then use that in the center of your tray or of your table centerpiece. And to have the star kind of lit up with all of your elements that are around it is really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And then you had this.
Yes. Oh, I brought this just as a natural element. This isn't. This is a what I call a light nary pine again, but it has all the little miniature pine cones in it. That's really wispy, and it's so great to take and root and toot through all of your different figurines because it's so light, and you can still get that kind of natural effect for all winter without having to have a big, huge garland. So it's really great to decorate. We do have these at the shop as well. So does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, we have time for questions if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask.
There we have one.
There we go.
Oh, she's right there with you.
Where's Coe's located?
Coe's is located, yes. Have you ever eaten at the cafe in town? We're right across the street. So we're located in Somerset, here on the north side of town. Corner of 24th and Stang is where Somerset starts, so right in that subdivision. So, and people have been sending me emails about whether or not we're open on Sundays. We were open last Sunday, and we'll be open next Sunday from 11 to 4. But those will be the only two that will be open through the holiday season. Yes.
Is that your garland from Coe's?
This one
the
or
fireplace?
this one? Yes, it is. Yep.
Any other questions? I hope we inspired you.
Yeah,
For
hopefully
those
we
of
gave you guys
who
some
have not
ideas.
started your holiday decorating, but I hope we have inspired you. And please feel free to stop by the gift shop or Co's, and we will inspire you more and encourage you more. So one thing, did somebody have another question? Sure.
I just had a quick question. You mentioned the wind in Iowa. That was one of the questions I came in here with. For an outside display, do you have any suggestions of what you use to weight them down to help with the wind resistance?
Rocks, sand.
Absolutely, yeah. Like Jen was saying, any kind of rocks or sand. Anytime I make an outdoor display for someone, I just use the white crushed gravel. Like this pot is 3/4 full of rock to weight it down. And then I also encourage people to use, like if you were doing a display like this in front of your door, I would take the chair and I would wire it to the pot, and then I would get a cinder block and put it underneath the chair and wire the chair to the cinder block, because it's always worth it to do a little bit of work now when it's 65 degrees. Then like in the end of January when your husband's cussing at you because half of it's in the yard and it's frozen down with snow and ice, and like, how are we going to get that chair out of the grass? So I only say that because I hear these stories every day. But if you know, wiring the heck out of it and adding some cinder blocks or bricks to it certainly does help. But this type of a look, I'm assuming, is going to go in front of a home that has some type of a covered porch or an overhang where you would have a little bit of protection so that it would stay together for you. Yeah.
Is it in a pot?
Is it
What
a
if you can-
ceramic urn?
Is it set in styrofoam? Do you know if it's put in a styrofoam? Because I wonder if you could cut around that styrofoam, take it out, and then fill it with the pea gravel or gravel.
Yeah, if in the winter, if you already have the pre-lit urns like that, you can buy sand weight that people put in the back of their pickups, you know, to keep them from skidding. Cut it open and fill it completely with sand, and then pour a ton of water in it, and if it ever does get cold, the water and the sand will freeze it just like glue, concrete. Yeah. So, any other questions? Or problems that we can help with?
Yeah, our problems. We do have something we'd like to give away today. Does anybody have a birthday today? No birthday. How about in the crowd? No birthday.
Oh, yesterday? We have a birthday from yesterday?
Whose birthday was it yesterday? Lori Baker. Lori Baker. Well, I think that warrants a little prize for that then.
All right.
We do have a wreath giveaway today for Lori. Merry Christmas and happy belated birthday. There you go. Thank you.
Great.
Well, I hope, again, we've helped or inspired you.
Yeah, and not just going into talking about Christmas, but Jen and I are going to be heading to Atlanta for market in about 3 weeks. So stop back in January to our shops and see all of the new merchandise, because I think it's going to be a great year. We have a lot of fun things planned for you. So
Definitely.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you guys want to come down and look closer
Please
at
do.
this, please do.
I think that
but
makes a difference if you want to
the-
see up close some of the things
Yeah.
we've done.
And the coupons are up by the door, so please take one of each. Thank you guys very much. This was